Welcome to AEDT 4120, Serious Gaming and Simulation. Week 8, Needs and Task Analysis, video clip 2 of 3. I'm Professor Bill Kapralos, and over the next few minutes we will be discussing needs analysis. However, prior to doing so, here's the list of analysis questions for this particular video clip. Number 1. What is a needs analysis and why is it important? Number 2. What is the importance of selling the analysis? Number 3. What is an operational statement? Number 4. What information should your final needs analysis report contain? Before we start, I'd like to point out that the material presented in this video clip is based in part on the material in the book by Nick Iuppa and Terry Borst, End-to-End Game Development, Creating Independent and Serious Games and Simulations from Start to Finish. As we discussed in video clip 1, the needs analysis is part of the instructional design process, essentially forming the research or data collection stage, whereby the goal is to obtain information that will guide the development of your serious game or simulation. As will be discussed during the remainder of this video clip, this information includes performing an exhaustive background review to examine existing serious games or simulations that are relevant to the one you are designing, discussing with subject matter experts and the potential end users, and determining budgets and required resources. In my opinion, the needs analysis is the most important step, and great emphasis should be placed on it. It has also been suggested that this stage be performed before the game design process begins. Ideally, you will have an instructional designer on your development team who has the expertise to properly and thoroughly conduct a needs analysis. An expert instructional designer may also serve to alleviate concerns from any skeptics who question the need for a serious game as a solution to the learning you are trying to solve. Part of the needs analysis includes determining the best solution to your problem at hand, even if your research determines that the best solution is not a serious game or a simulation, as you are proposing. Keep in mind that serious games and simulations are not the solution to each and every instructional or educational problem. This may seem somewhat contradictory, though. That is, having an instructional designer that may tell your client that your product is not what the client needs. Yes, this is in fact the case, but if there is someone who should say such a thing, it is better if they are on your side. That being said, the answer will almost never be that a learning game is a completely inappropriate solution, and typically, in the worst case, it will be part of the solution. Let's now examine some of the sources of research you collect as part of the needs analysis. Your needs analysis will undoubtedly involve interviews with subject matter experts, that is, those with hands-on expertise in the field of application you have entered into. The subject matter experts will typically question your knowledge about the subject, and therefore it is highly recommended that prior to meeting with them, you take the time to perform a careful overview of the literature and familiarize yourself with the problem and the task you are developing the serious game or simulation for. Furthermore, having some prior knowledge will also allow you to discuss with the subject matter experts in a meaningful manner and will ensure you are on the same wavelength as them. Subject matter experts may include curriculum authorities who are experts on the subject but are probably currently not working in the field, that is, performing the task, but rather they are administrators. They may have critical insights into problems and ideas regarding potential solutions, but they may also have prejudices. Other subject matter experts include experienced practitioners, those that perform the task well and do it often daily. Although they have acquired a large amount of knowledge, it may be hard for them to put this knowledge into words. Further subject matter experts include job trainers. Job trainers may have great insights into the target population and the skills to be taught. They probably have information that can describe the types of training your audience is currently receiving and can show you the types of educational facilities currently being used. Finally, we must consider the target population, that is, representatives of the people who will play the game. You should really get to know them well and learn how they are like, how they spend their days, how they feel about interactive simulations and games, and how proficient they are as gamers. Ultimately, their attitudes and opinions will determine whether or not your game is a success. You must also consider the demographic and their tastes. Keep in mind that they may not be as proficient as the experienced practitioners. How do you go about conducting the needs analysis? Step 1 involves convincing your client that it is worth investing the extra time and money required to conduct the analysis and instructional design. Step 2 involves scheduling of interviews with your subject matter experts and stakeholders. A good way to start is by holding a, open quote, kickoff meeting, end quote, that brings together key members from the development team and the key decision makers on the client side. You should also ask the client to define the purpose of the serious game or simulation, or in other words, ask them to explicitly describe what it is they are trying to accomplish. Finally, ask the client to set up meetings with the subject matter experts for you. Step 3 involves the formulation of a hypothesis. People in your client's organization will have a gut feel for the Solution 20 learning problem, and will also have strong opinions about the problem itself and possibly the solution. You should encourage them to turn their opinions into an actual hypothesis. The research you conduct as part of your needs analysis will then be to verify the client's hypothesis. Step 4 involves development of an operational statement. The first few interviews you conduct with your subject matter experts will help clarify your client's hypothesis. You should then restate it in terms that will more easily lead to behavioral objectives, and this will then become your operational statement, or in other words, your description of the problem. Step 5 involves data collection, and this is where the interviews with your subject matter experts take place and typically lasts for 1 to 2 weeks. If possible, try and duplicate geographic diversity of the target population. That is, travel to locations typical of the places they will be working in. The purpose of the data collection step is to gather evidence about the truth of your operational statement. Look for exceptions, and more specifically, are there issues in the environment that make it impossible to perform the task correctly? Are there motivational problems that make performers not want to do so? Try and get into the field with your potential users. Go with them when they do their job. For example, if developing a serious game for orthopedic surgery, then it will be useful to observe an orthopedic surgical procedure in the operating room. Gather evidence of correct or incorrect performance, record them while they are performing the task, in both audio and visual domains, if possible. Step 6 involves the analysis and comparison of the data you previously collected. Things to consider include, where do people agree and disagree, and what exemptions exist that address one or another of the most common discrepancies, amongst others. You should also draw conclusions about each point you make in your operational statement. Finally, Step 7 involves creating a report that will present your completed needs analysis with a set of objectives, conclusions, and recommendations to the client. The report is commonly in the form of a presentation, and a sample report may look as follows: definition of each of the problems and subproblems, evidence to support the problem statements, a commentary on the validity of the evidence, and appropriate behavioral objectives that, when met, will alleviate the performance problem. This is the end of our discussion on needs analysis. I would like to point out the book by Nick Ayupa and Terry Borst, End-to-End Game Development, Creating Independent and Serious Games and Simulations from Start to Finish, where some of the material presented in this video clip is derived from. There are also several good examples of a needs analysis conducted for serious games by the authors in the book. This leads us to our list of synthesis questions. Number 1. Think about and devise a preliminary operational statement for your course project serious game. This exercise is simply to get you thinking about the process. Number 2. Should game developers conduct a needs and task analysis? Should they be involved in the process? Explain. Number 3. How do we incorporate instructional design without conflicting or interrupting the game design process? This is the end of this video clip. Thank you.